when Alexander Isak put pen to paper on the contract with Liverpool. It marked the end of a tense stretch of days, broken promises and a fierce battle of wills between the player, his parent club, and the team eager to secure his signature. The case was seen as a mirror reflecting the constant tensions in modern football. A player striving to climb to the next level, his old club pulling the other way, and the clash between star power and the transfer market played out like a relentless courtroom drama. It all began with calculated silence. For weeks, Isak avoided any public statements, leaving the media and fans to speculate. Then, on August 20th, he shocked everyone with an Instagram post accusing Newcastle of breaking their promises and declaring that their relationship had become unsalvageable. That statement sent shockwaves through the St. James's Park dressing room. The board, who had previously insisted they never promised to let him leave, now found themselves on the defensive. The situation escalated further when Liverpool submitted a £110 million bid, a figure big enough to make any player consider a new chapter. Newcastle immediately rejected it, stressing that the club's interests came first. But for Isak, the trust had already been broken. The turning point came when Newcastle entered the race to find a replacement. They failed in their attempts to lure Yoane Wissa from Brentford and Jorgen Strand Larsen from Wolves. The deadlock reached its peak when the team was forced to deploy Anthony Gordon as a makeshift striker in the season opener, an image that left fans sighing in frustration. Relief finally came when the £70 million deal for Nick Woltmade from Stuttgart was completed. That signing proved to be the push strong enough for the board, backed by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, to give the green light for Isak's departure. Provided Liverpool raised their bid to £130 million. With trust shattered and a replacement secured, the door to Anfield swung wide open. For Liverpool, this was an endgame played with calm precision. They steered clear of any blind bidding wars, patiently waiting for Newcastle to run out of options. Meanwhile, the English press kept buzzing, dissecting every detail of Arne Slot's calculated approach. Former legend Jamie Carragher repeatedly emphasized that his old club had to bring in Isak at all costs, even while completing the deal for Mark Gahey at the same time. After the win over Arsenal thanks to Szoboszlai's free kick, the English press argued that Liverpool needed one more killer blow to maintain their edge in the title race. Isak became the perfect piece of the puzzle, not to replace Ekitike, who had been in fine form, but to add depth and give Liverpool more flexibility in turning games around. The £130 million deal, swiftly confirmed by The Telegraph as a record for English football, brought nearly 2 months of tension to a close while underscoring an important lesson. In football, money may be a necessary condition, but trust is what truly determines loyalty. Newcastle might have kept Isak for another season, but once a player publicly speaks of betrayal, repairing that bond becomes almost impossible. That chapter is now behind us, but its echoes will linger, remembered as one of the most dramatic transfer sagas in Premier League history. Before Isak's arrival, Arne Slot's Liverpool faced the prospect of defending the Premier League title without a true out-and-out striker. The midfield's flexibility, combined with the rotation options of Florian Wirtz, Salah, and Cody Gakpo, provided Liverpool with a powerful grip on control, but at times, they still lacked a true finisher who could deliver the decisive blow. The arrival of Hugo Ekitike earlier in the summer partly addressed that issue. And as soon as he began settling in at Anfield, many believed the Isak deal was no longer urgent. Even so, Slot pushed the board to complete the record-breaking £130 million signing. When put side by side, Isak's profile stands out from that of Ekitike. Standing 1.92 meters tall and with a habit of drifting left to carve out space for himself, he brings a completely different dimension to Liverpool's attack. He isn't the type of striker who just stands still in the box, but rather a forward who can carry the ball, link up play, and combine with teammates. Ekitike, on the other hand, is more versatile in dropping deep, linking up with quick 1-2 touches, and bursting into open spaces. When you place the two names side by side, the complement becomes clear. Isak can pin opposing centre-backs and pose a constant threat at the far post, while Ekitike orchestrates the flow with link-up play before bursting through the lines with pace. This gives Salah and Florian Wirtz an additional moving target to aim for with crosses or through balls, rather than having to work their way out of tight spaces on their own. Slot's preferred scenario when facing opponents who press high is a direct 4-4-2 with the two strikers split like mirror images. Isak drifts to the left, Ekitike to the right, while Van Dijk and Konate can launch long balls forward. At the same time, Mac Allister or Szoboszlai drop deep to draw the press. In possession, the structure shifts into a 3-2-5. Frimpong pushes high on the right, with Kekes balancing on the left. A common pattern sees the ball switched to Salah in the right half space, where he delivers a reverse ball toward the far post for Isak to overpower the fullback. At times, Isak himself drops deep, instantly opening space for Ekitike to exploit with his runs in behind. In a different context, when Liverpool need to control possession and sustain pressure against a low block, Slot shifts the team into a 4-2-3-1 that morphs into a 3-2-5 in build-up. Isak operates as the number 9, while Florian Wirtz takes on the left-sided number 10 role. Ekitike starts nominally on the left wing but tucks inside to overload central areas, creating room for overlapping runs from the midfield and fullback lines. Kekes is tasked with holding the width high on the left flank, while Bradley or Frimpong secure the right side to emphasize defensive balance. In this setup, Gravenberch is often preferred over Szoboszlai because of his stability and ability to dictate tempo, especially when the trio of Florian Wirtz, Salah, and Ekitike already provide an abundance of creativity. The presence of a control-oriented midfielder becomes essential. The risk with both approaches is that Liverpool could become undermanned in midfield when deploying two strikers at once. To minimize that, Slot requires a compact mid-block and relentless work rate from the double pivot. The key condition for success lies in Wirtz's positioning in the left half space, where his unpredictability can unlock defenses, and in keeping Salah high enough to constantly threaten runs in behind the opposition's backline. Isak doesn't just reshape the structure, he gives Liverpool the firepower to shift matches in those brief but decisive moments. Ekitike acts as the lubricant, ensuring rhythm isn't broken, while Florian Wirtz continues to orchestrate creativity. Another fascinating dimension comes from set pieces, with Isak alongside Van Dijk. Liverpool now hold a massive advantage on corners and wide free kicks. This has long been one of Slot's key weapons, but it's now further reinforced by the Swedish striker's aerial dominance. Blending these elements with the two tactical models, Liverpool stand on the verge of becoming a multi-dimensional force, wise enough to control possession, yet ruthless enough to land the killer blow at just the right time. £130 million for Alexander Isak isn't just about buying a striker who can score goals, it's an investment. And when viewed through the lens of Arne Slot's vision for Liverpool, it's about purchasing long-term title probability and unlocking the ability to thrive across multiple tactical systems at once. In total, Liverpool have spent over £340 million this summer, spreading their investment across names like Florian Wirtz, Ekitike, Kekes, Frimpong, Leone, and Percy, a sweeping rebuild designed not only for immediate impact but also for sustained dominance. These transfers show that Liverpool are not building around a single superstar, but rather creating a multi-layered core with depth and rotation in mind. Within that system, Isak becomes an expensive yet invaluable piece, because if you translate his impact into marginal points, especially in tight wins or games under pressure, he could directly add 7 to 8 points over the course of a Premier League campaign. In a league where titles have been decided by just 1 or 2 results, that calculation is entirely reasonable. Isak's arrival also raises the overall depth of the attack, giving Liverpool 2 distinct striker profiles to choose from depending on the opponent. Against high-pressing teams, Slot can roll out 2 forwards splitting the pitch horizontally, stretching the defense wide while alternating runs into space. Against low blocks, Isak stays as the traditional number 9 to stretch the penalty box, while Ekitike tucks inside as the linkman. This variety puts healthy pressure on the rest of the squad to adapt and compete. Of course, risk remains. Jamie Carragher has voiced concerns about Isak's durability, given his injury history and the need to manage his minutes. Slot recognizes this, treating rotation with Ekitike as a strategic necessity, keeping both sharp while avoiding the stigma of labeling anyone as just a backup. His message to the dressing room is clear: Isak is the finisher, Ekitike is the connector, and both are equally vital. This is how Slot preserves balance in a squad full of strong personalities. The £130 million outlay isn't for show, It's the concrete realization of Liverpool's vision, becoming a team with two winning modes. One to control and grind opponents down. The other to strike decisively at the right moment. If executed properly, this record signing won't just help defend the Premier League crown, it could also pave the way for European conquest. And that is the true value of the record, turning a strong side into a team capable of winning in multiple ways. On multiple stages.